I would like to introduce Shri Dhamija. Bhanu Dhamija is the founder, chairman of the Divya Himachal Group and is the author of one of the best-selling books, Why India Needs Presidential System. He acquired his postgraduate degree from the Stern School of Business at New York University and worked in the financial, computer, and media industries in the US and India.
I would like to just mention a few words about Bhanu Dhamija ji. His book, when it was published, he was not aware of the work that I was doing independently. But the minute he learned that, my first book was published in 79, and I have been continuously working. We have been continuously interacting. And believe me, his book, in spite of all that I read, I have read it twice, line by line and word by word. And it was like, I had almost lost motivation. My first book was published in 79, and this was published in 2014. So I had almost lost motivation after 35 years. कभी इतना काम किया अभी क्या करें? पर इनकी बुक पढ़ के मुझे मोटिवेशन मिला कि नहीं, we have to continue because the arguments contained here, the framing of India's constitution जो डिटेल में गए कि वो टाइम में भी प्रेसिडेंशियल डेमोक्रेसी के लिए और पार्लियामेंट के जो डिस्कशन हुआ, even that was also enlightening to me, I would like to say, and it's a great book, and I think everybody, who wants to really go to the depth of the subject, it's a very scholarly book and you must read it.
So please come on the dais and share a few words.
नमस्कार. मेहता जी ने मुझे कुछ कहने के लिए ही नहीं छोड़ा, but I'll try to add to his sentiments and to also Mr. Trivedi ji's sentiments, YP Trivedi ji's sentiments that he was expressing earlier. Can everybody hear me in the back? Today's hero, Shri Jashwant Mehta ji, dignitaries, distinguished dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar. I am honored to be invited to speak at the launch of Mehtaji's book, Presidential Democracy. This topic is of immense importance for the future of our nation. We all know that our current system of government is broken. So I appreciate every effort toward helping change this rotten system. Let me begin by thanking Mehtaji for this opportunity and for his kind words about my book, Why India Needs the Presidential System. It was published about 3 years ago by HarperCollins. I'm pleased to announce that the first edition is sold out. This month, actually, HarperCollins is coming out with an updated second edition. The book is also available in Hindi, and both books are available online, on Amazon, etc., and in bookstores nationwide. I've also written at least 100 articles on this topic. They've been published in mainstream media, from the Times of India to the Tribune to the Quint, the Print, Huffington Post, Swaraj, First Post, and so on. Mehtaji has devoted a good portion of his life to this cause. He began writing that India should adopt the presidential form of government some 40 years ago, as you just heard. He has worked tirelessly. He has published many books. He has written many newspaper articles, reached out to India's political leaders, business leaders, public servants, judges, and just about everyone who could help. He also started a political party dedicated to this cause, the Forum for Presidential Democracy. And now he has published this very fine book. So please join me in giving Mehtaji a big round of applause for his selfless service to our nation. As someone who has also devoted more than a decade to this mission, I can tell you that this cause is not for the faint-hearted, nor for a man in a hurry. Changing the country's system of government can take through a democratic process can take centuries. Now, why does it take so long? Because those who have the power to change the system do not wish the system to be changed. They have spent their entire life learning how to game the existing system. And now that they have reached the positions of power, they have no interest in bringing themselves down. There are occasional visionaries, leaders who see beyond their selfish interest, leaders who can see that the existing system is not going to make our country a great nation. There have been many such visionaries in India's history. Mehtaji has mentioned some names. These are some big leaders who have thought that India should adopt some variation of the presidential system, or at least not adopt the British-type parliamentary system. But it's the story of Vajpayeeji's interest in the presidential form of government that I would like to expound on. In a speech in 1998, Vajpayeeji declared that we should discuss the merits of the presidential system. He said, "I often wonder whether the British Westminster model has been defeated by the Indian reality." His Home Minister at the time, Advaniji, also made a series of speeches. He wrote many articles pushing for the consideration of the presidential system. Advaniji went so far as to say that the basic structure doctrine does not bind us to parliamentary democracy. And in this, he was right. The basic structure of our Constitution is separation of powers, not parliamentary form of government. And there is no better system for separation of powers than the presidential system. Inside the BJP, and if Trivedi was here, he would be very happy to hear this. Inside the BJP, I have it from a direct source that a decision was made to seriously consider switching the country's system of government. The Vajpayee government went ahead and appointed a commission, which was under the chairmanship of today's chief guest, Justice Venkatachalyaji. And I wish he was here because I would have liked to know more about his views as to what actually transpired inside that commission, the National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution. But Justice Venkatachalya's planned presence here and his correspondence with Mehtaji make it very clear that he too is inclined in favor of the presidential system. Now, was the BJP serious? Could it really adopt the presidential form of government? Is there a possibility that it could still happen? Well, we all see how Modi ji is running a presidential-style campaign. He loves the concept of a single man running the show and a single election for the entire country. It seems from his conception of the presidential system that he would be inclined to adopt that system. But would the RSS go along? I have attempted to understand the thinking of Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji, the Sangh's and the BJP's main ideologue. Upadhyay ji was critical of our constitution all his life. He presented his plans to change the existing system in 1965 under his philosophy, integral humanism. His thoughts about a new India, a Dharm Raj, were adopted by the BJP as its official philosophy. To this day, the BJP wishes to rebuild India according to Upadhyay ji's vision. Some BJP and RSS thinkers are already working to draft a new constitution. In 2016, Govindacharya ji, RSS ideologue and powerful general secretary of the BJP at one point, declared in an interview, he said, "We will rewrite the constitution to reflect Bharatiyata." In 2017, BJP Union Minister Anant Kumar Hegde, he also said, "We are here to change the constitution and we will soon change it," he said. So what kind of a system did Upadhyay ji have in mind? Many of Upadhyay ji's ideas fit with the presidential form of government. In fact, Upadhyay ji's ideas fit better with the presidential system than the parliamentary system. Let me repeat this. Upadhyay ji's ideas fit better with the presidential system. Let me just cite three of his main ideas. He said Dharma Rajya doesn't mean a theocratic state where a particular sect and its prophet or guru rule supreme. All the rights are enjoyed by the followers of this particular sect. Others either cannot live in that country or at best enjoy a slave-like secondary citizen's status. Now, if we put aside the silly arguments over semantics as to what dharma means or bharatiyata means or hindutva means, Upadhyayji's basic idea that India should not be a theocratic state and have equality of people of all sects matches more with the presidential system than the parliamentary system. Because in the parliamentary system, as we all know, the majority rules. In a Hindu majority nation, this means, by definition, a sectarian government, which Upadhyayji, I am sure, will not approve of, and he didn't. To him, dharma meant innate law, which is universal. And nothing is more universal than true secularism, where governments don't engage in establishing or appeasing or hurting any religion. Now, Upadhyayji's second governance principle, it was that individual alone should not be the basis of the Constitution. He wished the country to have a greater community to have a greater say in governance. Once again, this principle matches more with the presidential form of government than the parliamentary. The presidential system is decentralized, so communities can be more engaged in self-governance. For example, in America, there are 90,000 local government bodies. They're running ambulance services, they're running schools, they're running public utilities, and they're all managed by local communities themselves. Third, Upadhyayji was against the existing constitution because it threatened India's integrity. He wrote that according to the first paragraph of the constitution, India, that is Bharat, will be a federation of states. That is Bihar Mata, Bangla Mata, Punjab Mata, Kannad Mata, Tamil Mata, all put together make Bharat Mata. This is ridiculous, he said. We have thought of the provinces as limbs of Bharat Mata and not as individual mothers. Therefore, our constitution should be unitary instead of federal. Now, Upadhyayji's notion of an indivisible union of diverse states also matches more with the presidential form of government. The US model is called federal, but it creates a more indivisible union than the parliamentary system because it has no provision that can allow states to supersede the national constitution. Today, our parliament can grant dangerously secessionary powers to our state governments, which, as we all know, it has in the case of Kashmir or Assam or Nagaland and so on. Under a US-type constitution, this will not be possible. The legislature will have no powers to go beyond the boundaries of the national constitution. It was the ironclad union of the American Constitution that saved America from falling apart even during their Civil War. Thus, for all these three basic principles suggested by Upadhyayji, universal law, indivisible union, and community self-rule, the presidential system would be the better choice. So I'm very hopeful that the BJP stalwarts would once again think seriously about adopting this system. Now, Mehtaji has gone through a lot of detail about the system itself, so I will not cover that. But let me just touch on one topic. What are the benefits of the presidential system to the Aam Aadmi? All this talk about constitutional principles is of no use to the common man. He merely wants to know how the presidential system would help him and his children. Now, Mehtaji has done a great job in giving us a summary of that system's benefits. But give me a minute to point out 5 main benefits from a common man's point of view. First, a common man needs the presidential system because that system cannot be controlled by a single person. It will save the common man from single-person decisions, such as Indira Gandhi's emergency or Modi ji's demonetization. There are many people who still think, and absolutely incorrectly, that that system is one-man rule. The truth is the opposite. In 230 years of US history, no president has ever been able to act autocratically. But in just 70 years of our history, we can cite at least 2 prime ministers who have been terribly autocratic. Second benefit. Second, an Aam Aadmi needs the presidential system because it will save him from India's corruption. That system divides powers between the executive and legislative branches, as Mehta ji described. So they can check each other. Our current system fuses those powers into one official, so checking him becomes meaningless. Third, a common man needs the presidential system because that system will protect him from India's vote bank politics. In that system, candidates are chosen by primary elections, not by party bosses on the basis of caste or religion. And these candidates have to win large elections, just as Mehta ji described. The senator has to win the entire Senate, and the president has to win in the entire country. These elections, these large elections, cannot be won on the basis of vote bank politics. 4, a common man needs the presidential system because it will stop governments from wasting taxpayer money. In that system, governments have limited powers. They cannot announce schemes beyond those powers and without scrutiny of their sources of funds. 5, a common man needs the presidential system because it produces better leaders. Once again, because candidates are not chosen by party bosses behind closed doors. They have to actually win elections on their own capabilities. Now, how can India adopt this system? Mehta ji asked me to focus more on this topic, so let me try to outline how this system can be adopted. If we truly want to, adopting this system is not so difficult. First, this system can be easily adopted if we get a daring man or a woman to become prime minister. This is how Turkey has recently adopted the presidential system. Prime Minister Erdogan took it upon himself and got it done. Today, he is President Erdogan, although his version of the presidential system is no presidential system. Here in India, we thought Modi ji could be that daring man. Now we have to see if he will continue in office and whether he will have the intention or the luxury to be so courageous. Second, a national political party could make changing India's system a part of its platform, like Trivedi ji was saying. The BJP apparently did that once. It could happen again. In this context, let me point out that the common man has already decided that our current constitution has failed. We ran an online survey when I was researching my book in 2013 and 14, and 2/3 of the respondents said, yes, our constitution has failed. Recently, a PR firm based in Chandigarh asked respondents if the current system had failed, and nearly 80% said yes. So if a party adopts changing the system in its manifesto, I think it will be pleasantly surprised with people's support. Third, a nationally recognized leader could rally the people in asking for a systemic change. In this regard, I have hope from the likes of Shashi Tharoor and Rajiv Pratap Rudy. Tharoor in particular, he has a tremendous following and has bravely spoken in favor of the presidential system quite often. There is a recent hopeful sign that what I am suggesting can really bring results. Congress Party's recent manifesto in this election includes Tharoor's bill that he introduced in Parliament last year for changing India's city governments along the lines of the presidential model. So, if we all work jointly and simultaneously on all these 3 fronts, nudging the Prime Minister, urging leading national political parties, and supporting leading national leaders who can pick up the cause, this mission can be accomplished in our lifetime. All this requires is we the people to take the time and do something for the future of our children. And ladies and gentlemen, I have no doubt that you are that we the people, and you will do what you can to help build a great nation. For we all know we are not building a great nation with our current system of government. We are a great people, but we are languishing, and this hurts not just us, but our children's future. So, my dear fellow Indians, let's do something for our country. Jai Hind.